My name is Tiffany, and I am a cancer survivor. May 17th, 2022, I received the words, "You have cancer." So I went in for a 6-month follow-up appointment because 6 months prior, at my annual mammogram, the radiologist had discovered a small mass in my left breast. And she was concerned about it, but not concerned enough at the time. She just said, "I want to keep an eye on it. I'm pretty sure it's benign. Let's check back in 6 months." So May 17th was that 6-month mark. But 2 months before that, I had discovered a lump in my left breast. So same breast, but different position than what the radiologist was going to check up on. So I was doing my own self-breast exam in the shower and discovered a small lump. So I had told my husband about it. We had just decided, well, let's, just check it every couple weeks. Couple weeks went by. I checked it again. It was still there, still about the same size. It was hard. And thought, okay, well, I know I have this appointment in May coming up, so I'm okay to wait. So May 17th, when I went in for that follow-up, I told the technician what I had found and that it was in a different spot than what she was going to look for. So she made sure that she got plenty of images with what she was doing. And then they took me in to have the ultrasound as well. The ultrasound technician took what I consider to be an obscene amount of images. And then once she went up into my armpit, I just knew something wasn't quite right. And I went so far as to ask her, "Are you looking for cancer?" And she tried to assure me no, that this was routine to go into the armpit, which I knew it wasn't because 6 months prior they didn't do that. When she was finished up, she just said, "Okay, get dressed. The radiologist will come visit with you in a moment." And a few moments later, he walked in, introduced himself, and just very blatantly said, "You have cancer." So I asked for my husband to come in. He did accompany me to that appointment. So the technician went and got him. And then the radiologist came back and did tell us together that, yes, I did in fact have breast cancer, and that the process to get me going on that was going to start immediately. So then we were whisked away to a scheduling agent for the biopsy. I think it was 2 days later, the biopsy results came back, as at the time it was stage 1 invasive ductal carcinoma. About a week and a half later, I went to see an oncology surgeon and also my medical oncologist. And the two of them decided that surgery would be the first part of my pathway to, all my treatments. So a month later, I had a full mastectomy of my left breast. My medical oncologist wanted my tumor to have further testing done. So after surgery, she sent out other samples of my tumor to be tested, kind of really to see if chemo would be an option for me or not, to reduce that chance of recurrence. But the day after my surgery, my surgeon called me and said, "Your cancer is a little bit more complex than we initially thought. The tumor has substantially grown in just the last month. So from the time of diagnosis to the time of surgery, it had grown substantially. And I had a secondary cancer." So he had discovered that my tumor, which was the invasive ductal carcinoma, was encapsulated inside ductal carcinoma in situ, which is non-invasive. So a little panic moment on my end, like, oh my gosh, what does this now mean? I've got 2 types of cancers now, similar, related. But he said it was actually a good thing that you had your tumor encapsulated in this, because the non-invasive cancer stopped the invasive cancer from spreading into the ductal wall. So a little silver lining there, right? then the results came back from further biopsying, and my medical oncologist upgraded me to stage 2. So in the end, it was stage 2, grade 3 invasive ductal carcinoma, as well as non-invasive ductal carcinoma in situ. And I was a candidate for for chemo. So without chemo, I would have a 25% chance of recurrence. With chemo, it would drop to 10%. And then with hormone therapy, tamoxifen, the estrogen blocker, my chance of recurrence drops to 5%. So I went through 4 rounds of chemo. And about a month after finishing that, I started on tamoxifen. And it's been a little bit over a year that I've been on tamoxifen. And thank goodness things are going fairly well with that. Side effects are manageable, and I'll be on that for 4 more years. I was first introduced to Cancer Community Clubhouse through a friend of mine who is also a breast cancer survivor, and she was connected to the clubhouse when I got diagnosed. I think it was 2, maybe 3 weeks after my diagnosis, Cancer Community Clubhouse was hosting the National Cancer Survivor Day event here in Reno. I think it might have been at the Elks Club. And my friend Gina had me accompany her to that because she wanted me to be connected with other survivors. I had no idea what to expect. I was still, I think, in shock from my diagnosis, and I had so much going on with my upcoming surgery. But I went and immediately just felt this connection of survivors. Sorry. All right. So I immediately felt this connection with other survivors. I didn't stay for long because it was a little bit overwhelming for me to be there with so many other people. And I didn't know who was a survivor, who was a support for survivors, but it was quite overwhelming. But I stayed long enough to get a pretty good feel of what Cancer Community Clubhouse was all about. And I know I met you, and I met Natalie, and met some other people that my friend had really wanted me to meet. And I think her goal was just to say, hey, here's this resource, this local resource for you, and get involved as much as you choose to help in your survivorship. So it wasn't until about a month after my surgery, so sometime in July probably, I went to my first Clubhouse event, and it was a luncheon. I had no idea what to expect. I kind of thought, oh my gosh, is this going to be where you go in and you're all sitting in a circle saying, hi, I'm Tiffany, I have cancer, and then you just talk about it? Or was it going to be much more relaxed? I wasn't sure, but I just jumped right in. And it was beautiful. It was probably, I'd say 15, 18 people just sitting around a table, enjoying a meal together, talking about anything and everything. And if you wanted to talk about cancer, that was okay. If you didn't, that was okay as well. It was just such a relaxed environment, but so supportive at the same time. And so that's what hooked me really onto the Clubhouse, was that first event, just knowing that I had a group of fellow survivors that I could connect with in different ways. So after that first luncheon, then I went to an art therapy class and got a little bit more involved in that way, and just started going to the monthly events that the Clubhouse offers. And every event is special in its own way. And just having that support, as I said, with other survivors, is, you just know that you're safe. You're in a very safe environment. And then the sound baths started to happen, and just everything that the Clubhouse does. It's truly here for survivors, and it's an organization that I want to continue with for as long as they'll have me. So as part of my recovery from cancer treatments, I embarked on my own recovery journey, which was to become certified in wellness practices, which include yoga, meditation, and breath work. When I went through that program and came to the completion of it, I had decided that I wanted to give back to the cancer community that had helped me in my journey. So I approached Natalie and said, hey, I have this certification, or I'm getting this certification. I wasn't quite finished yet. And I just asked her, when I'm done with my program, I would like to give back. Is that something you might be interested in? And I can offer yoga, meditation, whatever it might be. And she said, yes, absolutely. So I've been doing that since I think it was September of 23. So every month I offer a chair yoga for cancer survivors and a little bit of meditation mixed in there. And that's just my way of giving back to the community that has supported me so much. Maybe a couple words of wisdom. First, find your voice. If you didn't have a voice before cancer, you need to find it. Once you're diagnosed, get that voice, because you truly are your only advocate. You can have your family as your support and going with you on appointments, but only you can really speak up for yourself and become part of your medical team, because you know what's happening inside your body and you need to have that voice to express it. And you might be doing some research on your own, and you need to ask your doctors questions. What about this route? Or would this be better for me? This or that. So find that voice if you don't have one yet. And then I would also say, with cancer treatments, whether it's surgery, radiation, chemo, it alters your body. It alters you physically, emotionally, mentally. And it's really hard. It can take you down some pretty deep paths and tunnels. So I would suggest always find some joy every day, joy and laughter every day, because without that, you can sink pretty low pretty quickly. And thankfully, I had such a strong support system that brought me a lot of joy every day and a lot of laughter. And that was huge for me, just going through my treatments, being able to find little silver linings every single day, whether it was, the movement of the tree outside my window, or a bird fluttering up and perching on, the windowsill outside, or my husband cracking a joke, or whatever it was. Just find joy in every day.